Hello YouTube, it is your boy Dave coming back with another video, and for today I kind of just want to talk about a game that's kind of close to my heart, a game that I would consider a personal favorite of mine. And you may ask, what is that? Well, specifically, Evolution's Skateboarding for the GameCube. Yeah, it's a big favorite of mine. And you may ask yourself, Dave, why specifically now? Well, first time I actually played it was around, when it was getting kind of cold, October-y kind of weather. And it kind of feels right because the game has both a Halloween and or Christmassy themed level, which is pretty nice. It's pretty nice. So it's kind of like that, it's like an end of the year kind of game, in my opinion. You know, it's not specifically Halloween. It's not like Simpsons didn't run or anything, but it's more like a end of the year kind of game. So it's kind of nice for that. But we're not talking nostalgia right now. We're talking about people's opinions and or my own in regard to this game specifically. And you may ask, why specifically this game? Well, it's because this game is a bit of an internet enigma, in my opinion. Specifically because of the fact that, as far as I can tell, no one really talks about it, and I'm kind of disappointed about that. Like, I think the only people that have genuinely said they love this game is a few people that are in comment sections on YouTube, and me, probably. I mean, I've seen people be like, yeah, I like this game, it's pretty good, and I can appreciate that. I like that there are people out on the internet that actually enjoy this game. But then there's the review part of the internet, the people that have made full-on videos discussing this game in any sort of depth and detail. And to that I can say, yeah, I can agree. I can enjoy with some of what they've said. A perfect example would be Rad Red Video. His video covering this game is pretty good, actually. It's not too negative, and I would say a lot of his points I can agree with, but there are points I do have to disagree with, and we'll get to that in a second. The only other review I know of is the channel Under 10 Hours, which I have to firmly disagree with, especially at certain points, and once again, we'll get to that. So, in my opinion, what does Evolution Skateboarding do good? What are like some of the pros? Well, for me, I'd say it's the soundtrack, which neither Rad Rat nor Under 10 actually cover. Neither of them kind of just avoid the soundtrack altogether. Why, though? I'm not sure. I mean, I know that there is at least 3 songs that are specifically just Primus. I know that there is like a song from Peanut Butter Wolf. I know that there is a song from, I forget whom else. And I know that the main theme is straight up just Agent Orange off the album Virtually Indestructible, which is kind of a weird album. It's just like the album Infotainment by Pitch Shifter. Both albums are literally super hard to find at this point. You can't even find it on fucking YouTube. I think Virtually Indestructible you can still find on YouTube, hopefully. Hopefully. I'm not sure at this point. I'll have to edit the video or like add a little thing at the bottom. You know, you know what I mean. I'll probably just type it at some point. Maybe. Anyway, that's more in regards to the soundtrack than anything else. But, like, other things I really enjoy about the game are just sort of like the level design, which goes from like Christmas to like a sort of Halloween themed level, which is more Castlevania than anything, but, you know, potato, whatever. There's like a, level that's set in like Japan. There's sort of like 2 levels that are set in Big Shell, the main area of Metal Gear Solid 2, which I thought was pretty cool. There's a good variety in levels. I really do love the sort of like temple, sort of like, there's like a temple kind of looking level. There's like the couple of city levels that are set in not Boston, but Philadelphia, which I thought were pretty alright. They're pretty alright levels. There's no level that's like awful. There's no bad level. There's no like Matzo tier level. They're all pretty good, and I would recommend them. Whew. But here's the thing, right? One other thing that I think me and the channel Rad Rat has agreed on is the announcer guy's fucking great. I love the overly enthusiastic announcer guy. It could be in any game, but you give me an announcer guy that's just like, all right, yeah, like just giving the player like kind of like that push to be like, all right, and just even if it's something stupid like. The way in this game some moves are said, like some of them are completely inaccurate to what they're actually trying to say. Like it'll be like 50-50 grind, and it'll be like, that's not even a real move, but okay, fuck it. All right. I mean, it sounds nice, and when you're playing the game, you're not really thinking about it. I know if you're like a hardcore skater, you're gonna be like, but it's not the real move. It's like, yeah, I get it, but still, it's like this game was kind of made in Japan, so I'm not really expecting like super accurate. I'm sort of just expecting to have like a close approximation to the words themselves. I mean, truth be told, I wouldn't doubt some of the words were just kind of like translated from Japanese to English, as even Rad Red had pointed out. But yeah, that's sort of the one thing at this point that for me I absolutely love. The soundtrack and the announcer guy really does add something to the game, especially when during certain boss fights you'll have him say certain things, which really, I don't know, I really love that. I really fucking love that. It's something that's totally unnecessary, but it kind of is just something that just amuses me. One other thing I do love is the unlock system that it has in the game, which basically is the more you play the arcade, the more things you do, the more you can unlock things for your custom character, which I thought was actually pretty cool. So it gives you more of an incentive to like complete all the objectives, because then you basically get more things for your unlocked character, like new clothing, new skateboard, stuff like that, which I thought was pretty cool. Now, let's get into what both of them said, because for me, that's kind of where it gets interesting, right? Like, in my opinion, I'd say the general game itself is pretty good, but let's get into their opinions and then kind of my thoughts on each. So first, let's just talk about Rad Rat's video, first off, because I would say his was tame. His was pretty okay in terms of a review. Basically, you could summarize it as it's not a bad game, but it's not a good game either. Kind of just as I think I would put it, like a mid-tier game. Nothing special, nothing crazy, but nothing that would I would definitively put as bad, right? Like it's not what I would consider like matzo tier. It's not like, hot piss and garbage, right? It's not like extreme boards and blades. That's a real stinker. No, no, this is actually like a playable game. One thing I've noticed from both Rad Rat and Under 10 Hours have both put in their videos is the game is too hard, which I'm not sure how they managed to do that. I get that there is like a weird learning curve with how momentum works and how sort of like your board kind of works and how there's almost a sort of slowness to it, which I can understand. That does make the game fucking hard, but once you get into the rhythm of the game and once you start figuring out how to like pull off some crazy fucking combos, and doing like some mad ass tricks. Like one thing I've noticed that throughout Rad Rat's video during the camera impressions, which is just a side goal in which you have to get too close to like a cameraman, do a few tricks, and then get to a certain level of points, and then you can get to the next guy, and then you complete the objective. He kept failing it because of the fact that one thing that they don't tell you in the game itself is that so long as you're continuing to make like a long combo, you can continue that thing. So you can just keep doing manuals or kick flips and just elongate the elongate sort of like the whatchamacallit, the combo go. You can like keep the combo going by doing that. So it makes it a little bit easier to get some of them. I know later on it's gonna be a fucking nightmare since sometimes you'll be like, get 20,000 for each. It's like holy shit. But there is points where I will say the game never gets too hard. I know in Under 10 Hours video, he pointed out that certain characters' jumps are necessarily awful. He used Steve Williams as a perfect example of a character who has very poor jumping, bad ollie ability, but I never noticed it because realistically, within the game itself, you're not, like, each objective I've noticed is that depending on the character you're playing as, usually the game has enough mercy to make it so that way their objectives kind of correlate to how their stats are built. Like, you're not going to have a mission in which you're going to have to specifically collect something that normally, like good old Steve wouldn't be able to pick up because the stats are too low for, like, ollies and stuff. So it's going to be more like ground stuff, from what I've noticed. Or it's like, there's collectibles strewn all over the place, but they're at least put in a way where most characters can get them. So there's at least mercy in what they do with the game design, thankfully. One other thing I've noticed is that Rad Rat is basically pointing out like some of the challenges are bad, which some of them can be. I would say my least favorite being in the dungeon level where you basically have to save the prisoners. The problem with it is the fact that you have to basically get to this very specific grind, and if you don't get it, you're basically gonna have to go all the way back up and start again, which could take basically the entire time. Basically one of my least favorite to accomplish, but pretty much aside from that, most objectives are pretty fun, especially I really enjoy doing some of the more unique ones, or just, your simple points, or the checkpoint ones, which kind of turns into almost a race, in a way. Kind of. It's more like memorization, trying to remember where each point is and all that. I know another thing Rad Rat pointed out was the game was kind of lazy, which I can see somewhat, but I don't fully agree with. Mostly because I see a lot of what they did with the map design is pretty interesting. I see that there's at least enough care put into it. Like, you compare it to the original game, which was X Games Skateboarding, which came out before Evolution, and X Games really looks, it feels a lot different, it feels a lot more realistic. So to go from that to this, it feels like a much more, like, there's a lot more effort, a lot more care. Um, aside from that, Rad pretty much was, he was tame overall. It's when we get to under 10 hours when we start to get into the interesting shit in terms of people's opinions about this game specifically, and where I get sort of interested in sort of, discussing this. For one, his title, the title of the video itself, is kind of a spit in the face, at least in my eyes. And you may ask why specifically, and it's specifically because the title itself is just called "This Game Sucks, Don't Play It." And for me, it's like, this is, I get why, right? Like, maybe it's supposed to be like that whole angry gamer thing, and, there's that sort of, there's still that mentality even, 20 years later or whatever, not even 20, but like 15, maybe 13, who knows. Whenever the AVGN started, people always love to be like, "Oh, this game sucks. Oh, it's the worst. Don't play it. Oh, it's crap. Ah," that sort of thing. You get it. But one thing I've noticed about this guy specifically, under 10, is that he once again goes back to what even Rad Rat was saying, which was the game is difficult. Which I can agree that it can be hard if you just go from, and in specifically point 10's, or in under 10's point, he states that it feels too much like Tony Hawk while also not feeling enough like Tony Hawk, so it makes it this weird feeling. I never had that problem, specifically because I sort of understand that this is a completely different game, and it has a much different feel in terms of like how weighty it feels. So just by trying to go from that logic of Tony Hawk's more light, kind of fluffy almost, jumping mechanics, where you can basically just jump from wherever and it just has the same amount of heft, while as with this game, you seriously have to get some speed to get any sort of real satisfying jump, which kind of makes it a bit more challenging, but I kind of enjoy that. Another thing he says is that the game has bad controls. I've noticed that with a few channels and a few comments, actually, that they stated that the controls are delayed, which maybe this has to do more with the PS2 version, because from what I have seen specifically, both Rad Rat and Under 10 were using the PS2 version, unlike what I've been playing, which is the GameCube version. This might have to do with also the fact that I'm using a GameCube, or not a GameCube, a Wii with component cables. Or, was it component? Yeah, component cables, the better ones. So that may have improved like response time somehow. I mean, I'm not using a CRT, but that may have happened, because I do know certain games on the PS2, especially if you're using the standard, 3-point, chords and all that, your standard, like, the standard, the ones that you get with the box. Those probably aren't going to be helping you, so that might be the issue with Evolution Skateboarding on the PS2. Trust me, I think I actually found that out with games like Metal Arms. Glitch in the System has that problem on the PS2 over the GameCube, so that might actually be the issue with Evolution on the PS2 as well. So at least I know where they're coming from. It's not just a weird problem, it's specifically that system having that issue. Let's see, one problem he had was falling off rails, which, that seems more like a him problem, because throughout my entire playthrough of this game, I have never had that issue, mostly because when you're playing the game, if we're going by, like, GameCube logic, you're just going to be either doing a trick, and then while you're in the air, getting off your rail, you're going to be doing a trick, grabbing on, just doing sort of like a jump trick, grind, jump trick, grind, kind of doing something like that. So I never really noticed the problem. I love how immediately the first thing he does say, however, in his video, in Under 10's video, he basically is just like, this game is pain, and I really don't see it. I really don't see why you'd say that. One thing that I will say I do disagree with wholeheartedly on the Under 10 video that he does say is, and I actually have a point in which it's at 9 minutes and 9 seconds. He says, basically, like, if you think this game is good, then your opinion is wrong. And it's like, see, that's when I have to put my foot down on your review, right? Like, I feel like if a review is kind of telling anybody else that has a different opinion that your opinion is basically incorrect, then it's like, I'm sorry, pal, but look, you gotta, that just seems kind of shitty. I mean, look, it's not a bad game. That's the thing that gets me. It's like, if this was like big rigs over the road racing, if people were like, if I was defending fucking like something like Extreme Paint Brawl or something, I would get it, right? It's a bad fucking game. If it was like, like a free to play mobile game with fucking microtransactions or something, I would get that sort of belief, that sort of like opinion where you're like, no, this game is fucking bad, and anyone plays it is also bad. If we were talking fucking like, I don't know, like fucking Rascal or something, I would get it because it's a game with bad controls and all that. But this game just feels like it isn't horrendous. It isn't like cripplingly imperfect, like imperfect. That's how I see it, at least. I see it as a game that is flawed, sure, but it rises above its own flaws. It has things that make it still fun to play. It has that almost kinetic energy that it has, where you can just like basically go off a fucking ramp, get enough speed, then just jump off another thing to another area, and it's just there's like a satisfaction to it, the whole thing, that I feel like neither channel has really said, and that kind of disappoints me. But one thing that Under 10 does point out is the fact that the game itself did come out before Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, so at least I was right on that. I always thought that the game came out probably before Thug, because once Thug came out, like Thug 1 or 2, Tony Hawk Underground, once those games came out, basically the whole landscape of skateboarding games were kind of changed because of it, because open world skateboarding games kind of became the new hotness, rather than just being stuck to your board. Games like Project 8, Improving Ground soon came after it, and Skate and all that. The landscape kind of changed after Thug. Although I think there were games doing the whole get off your board thing before it, but I would say that was probably like the first real skateboarding game where you could do that. Well, I mean, Boards and Blades actually lets you do that, but I mean, I'm not going to really give that to Boards and Blades. Come on now. Yeah, get off your board and run up fucking million miles and all that. Yeah, real smart. But for me, I think the only problem I've had with Evolution skateboarding is just how I would say the only problem is just how short the track list is. That's basically my biggest concern and biggest issue. Because they give you plenty of time to complete most of the objectives. The objectives aren't too hard, even if it's like get 20,000 points. If you at least know how to get like a solid combo string, or at least know how to do like a few grinds and a few flips, then you're solid, right? It's not that it's a difficult game. It's just the fact that I feel like so many people that have played the game have basically kind of clung to their brain that it's similar enough to Tony Hawk, and I think that's where the problem comes in, because when you think it's gonna be like Tony Hawk, then you're expecting it to be like super arcadey, which, I mean, truth be told, when you go in the back of the box and it says stuff like, boss battles and all that, I get it, you're thinking, oh, it's gonna be super wacky, but I mean, it has a weird vibe. Like, it's arcadey, it's fun, it's kind of slow, actually, but I don't really see that as a flaw. I kind of see that as a positive, because usually you don't see games like that be kind of slower. But I think for the most part I've said what I wanted to say. But one other thing though I have to personally say, and it's just like that I'm probably gonna have to make more videos like this, because to be honest, it's been a good while, and I might make a part 2 to this, just a fucking let's play, because there's not really that many games that I'd be so willing to discuss it and then also play it. So yeah, see you later, YouTube.